Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Velocity of Now. I bet you didn't expect me to come around this time. I must be on some kind of broadcasting Viagra. But here we go for a third time sloppy episode of the show in recent weeks. Very recent weeks. The reason why is because, well, I'm just on fire at the moment, and also there's a lot of things buzzing around inside my consciousness that I want to get out. I want to get out of myself, and I think because I have the smartest and the most intelligent listenership in alt media, people who actually think for themselves, people who love to be challenged, people who even challenge me, and I'll admit when I'm wrong, I'll admit when I'm right, but what you get from me is always the truth. I'll never lie to you, and I see that my audience are the same way too. The comments on some of the recent videos, good, bad and critical, positive, negative, are all welcomed once they're not personal attacks, and I thank you for that. And please stay on board and please continue to communicate and stay part of this dialogue. Now, it's the date is the 22nd of June, so we've just passed the solstice. Funny enough, I had a weird vibe during the solstice yesterday. I wasn't feeling the best for some reason. And I'm kind of glad it's over now. Actually, leading up to it was a bit weird. And usually I'm in good form before the solstice, but I was a bit kind of iffy this year. I'm not sure why, but I'm feeling a lot better now that it's passed. And so the 22nd of June 2018, my websites are thomassheridanarts.com and streetdruid.net. And if you want to help me out, you could buy a book or even share this video. Let the ads play. That's an important one. If the ads are not a big problem, just let them play. You've let all your life you've allowed mainstream media to play ads while you watch their garbage. Least you can do is let the ads play while you're watching my garbage, and hopefully keep me going at this rate. I have to say I'm very positive about things at the moment. I'm looking forward to doing some new film projects, going to visit some esoterics and magical and sacred ancient sites, and you'll all be coming there with me. And the videos, of course, will be going up for free with ads on YouTube. And so I like commerce, I like capitalism, I like the idea of it, and the universe gives you no free rides. And this is probably the theme of tonight's show, chaos. Now, the Great Awakening happened when Trump got elected. The precursor to that, the penultimate event was, of course, Brexit. But when Trump got elected, that's when the Great Awakening happened. Now, I can hear all the satanic pedophile types going, Trump, what? Great Awakening, but we're all supposed to be riding around on unicorns and peace and love with Russell Brand, and it's all supposed to be beautiful, and we choose love, and that's the Great Awakening. Nah, that's a cult Great Awakening. That's a Christian Great Awakening. The Great Awakening is the unleashing of potentials, the unleashing of energy, and Trump gave us that. In fact, it's actually the other way round. We put Trump in power in order to allow us to have this. Now, not necessarily through the election process. That was the machine by which we were able, well, Americans, God bless them, were able to do that for the rest of the world. But like, I was looking at some pictures today of Trump as a space marine, a Warhammer 40k space marine. 3 different paintings that were produced in 2016 when he was running for election. And like I've been saying, memes are digital sigils. And the reason why the left can't meme is because all their memes come out of places of fear and loathing, where the alt-right or whatever, or centrist, or the old liberals like me, our memes work because they come from a place of fun. Like, all my memes are all funny, the ones I've ever made for myself, like the famous one of I'm not going to register my septic tank because the government is not getting their hands on any of my shit. That kind of one. They don't come from places of fear. They come from places of either neutrality or fun, and that's why they work. Because the universe and the forces of the universe do not reward a loser. They do not reward a loser. And if you have a mindset where the world is controlled by, say, Zionists, you're a loser and you'll always be a loser. If you think you have a situation where the world is controlled by space reptilians on the moon, you're a loser and you'll always be a loser. If you think the world is controlled by this, that and the other, you'll always be a loser, because you automatically put yourself in a a place of victimhood. When you assume victimhood, you have assumed failure. You have lost. You're only a victim you're only a victim for a while, and there is no pain and suffering in this life. There is no tragedy and misery. There is only learning processes. All salvation is an individual soul-based process. There is no great awakening of everybody suddenly being elevated. The people in the alternative movement who expect this, they're no different than born-again Christians, and they're no different than Mormons. You might as well get your rapture-ready underwear and get ready to be launched into space, into heaven. It's just like that. This is why cults always have this terminal event of the salvatory moment, like the judgment card in the tarot. It does not exist. The judgment card in the tarot, if you look at that, you have the trumpets of Gabriel playing and calling, and people are getting out of the grave, but some, they're not floating up towards heaven. They've just been resurrected from the dead. They can choose to go to heaven, or they can choose to continue on in life. See, death is a very important image in the esoteric. This is why in the esoteric, in the elite magical systems, in the non-New Age magical systems, the image of death, skulls and crossbones, rotting corpses, dismembered bodies, the Kali kind of idea is so central, because death doesn't represent the death that you get in biological sense. It represents the death of the old. So Trump really is a god of chaos and death. And I am a great lover of the gods of chaos and death. Ever since I first discovered chaos magic back in I think for me it was probably in the late 80s, early 90s, I've been totally enamored by the idea of chaos and discordia. This is what's a great tragedy if you go to, of today. If you go to like the Robert Anton Wilson groups on Facebooks now, it's all full of these soy boys and cuckolds who are all terrified of Trump and actually wanted Clinton to win. Now, if Raw was alive today, he would love what's happening right now. The furnace of chaos is burning like it never burned before. Now, there's those of you who say, well, what's chaos? Chaos is opportunities that give you potentials to capitalize on the flux and machinations and turbulence which is being unleashed within the prevailing paradigm. A simple but effective description of chaos that I have always given people is, suppose you're a primitive person and you want to light a fire, or just any person really, and you have no matches, lighters or means of friction. Suddenly, lightning strikes a tree and it bursts into flames. A person who is a coward will run into the cave and cower in terror of the fire tree and the wrath of the gods. They're to the left right now. And then the rest of us who would embrace the chaos would run out and grab a burning branch and use it to create a fire to keep ourselves warm and cook our food. That's chaos. Instead of resisting the forces and the changes and the prevailing paradigm shifts within society, you ride them like a surfer would on a surfboard when a right wave comes along. You either drown trying to break the forces, or you ride with them. It doesn't matter if you like what's going on or not. That's irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. I don't like Trump. Trump's a fucking Nazi. I won't. You see, that's irrelevant. He is a god of chaos and death. Death to the old ways, chaos to unleash the potentials for you as an individual going forward. Grasp, embrace, enjoy, live your life. I'm going to protest against Trump. I'm going to march around with a little sign saying Trump is a Nazi. You have lost. You are a failure. You are a little man and a little woman. You have nothing to offer. Your protesting and your petitions and your revulsion against the chaos that's unleashed is your post-mortal spasms. You are dead, but not dead in a mystical way. You are dead in a literal way. You have committed soul suicide. Do you want to commit soul suicide, or do you want to embrace the changes that are being unleashed within your life, within the world around you, within the potentials and possibilities? This is your choice. This is your moment. But he's a bad man. He's got money. I have no money. He's a bad man. He's got money because he has embraced the potentials of chaos in the past. He is a great man because he's aware of how chaos can unleash potentials. He's burying his knob and pussy of a quality that you will never ever even get to look at because he embraced the chaos that was unfurnished before him in his life. Do you want that, or do you want to sit there in your malaise of stagnation, your post-mortal spasms of protesting against a world that cares or cherishes for you not anymore? The choice is yours. But they're all the same. They're all like him. No, they're not the same. Read them as energy. Don't read them as dogma. When you read them as energy, you are given potentials. When you read the world as energetic sources, you are given means of liberation. Do you want to be liberated, or do you want to stay among the bottom feeders? It's your choice. It's always a personal choice. There is no movement that will give you solutions. There is no dogma that will provide you with liberation. You must grasp these things for yourself. You must pick up that burning branch that has fallen from the tree and burn the fires of potential and salvation and happiness and success into your world. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to play Truth 101. The same reason you get videos from me saying I don't give a shit about the Middle East is the same reason you get videos like this. I'm not here with a Patreon account. Tell me what you want to hear, truthers. Here it is. Now donate. All I'm giving you is the means for your own salvation. I'm giving you nothing else, and I'm asking nothing more. It's really that simple. I'm really annoyed right now that people that should know better are turning their backs on the lords of chaos and death and the bounty and the fruits that they are furnishing us with right now. I'm really amazed by it. Let's go back and play a 30-year-old William Cooper video about his belief in G. Yeah, that's really going to work today. That's really going to do. That's really, William Cooper videos from years ago were relevant years ago, just like Terence McKenna speeches from years ago were relevant years ago. But Terence McKenna was different, and so was Raw. And Alan Moore, tragedy, is no longer part of that movement because he's just showed himself as a pathetic Trotskyite, and his magic is dead. He's gone now. He did great work. He performed amazing things, but his magic is dead now because he's unfortunately he comes from the dogmatic magic thing. And anyone who's read my book, Sorcery, The Invocation of Strangeness, will know that my attitude to magic is everything is fucking magic. It's all there. You grab it while you can. You loot the stores. You bring them down. Now those memes of Trump as the Space Marine is very interesting in lots of ways because, as I said, it comes from the whole Games Workshop Warhammer thing. They've superimposed his head upon these memes. Now, ironically, they put him in as a Chaos Space Marine with the Chaos Star. You see, and the Chaos Star that was developed by Michael Moorcock, it was brought into every aspect of modern life post 77. Games Workshop was as much a part of the chaos magic shift, shall we say, as was punk rock and everything else. It's really amazing. You live everywhere. You're surrounded by magic. You either roll with it or you don't. It's really that simple. Now, when I hear people, the only thing that the left, and increasingly the so-called alt movement, the truth movement, whatever you're good at, the only magic they have is the most ineffectual form of black magic. The main method of black magic used by the left these days is emotional manipulation or emotional blackmail. This is black magic. That's why it's called blackmail. If you have to use emotions and superficial platitudes in order to achieve your aims, you're in the world of black magic. So if you're posting these videos about all these Mexican kids in cages at the US border, in order to sway people's feelings, you are involved in black magic. Firstly, I'll tell you what was crazy about all that. Obama had those kids in cages. You didn't care. Why? Because you're not very bright and you need black magic from other sources to sway your simple mind. So your simple mind needed the black magic impulse of emotional blackmail and emotional control, manipulation, in order for you to give a fucking shit to begin with. You didn't give a shit last week, and you didn't give a shit last year or 5 years ago when Obama was doing it. It was only when you were emotionally manipulated. This is black magic. Now, that law that has those kids separated from their parents at the borders of the US and Mexico, it's not very nice. I don't like it, and I'm fair play to Trump. As soon as he became aware of it, he stopped it. He stopped it because, like any great magician, he understands when it's the right time to play your hand, so to speak, to pull the rabbit from the hat. It's over now, and you don't have to be screaming in convulsions about it anymore. It's done. But you didn't give a shit when Obama was doing it. Why? Because you are a maggot. Oh, you are a maggot. A maggot. Well, then you would say, then how do I stop being a maggot? Don't give a shit when it happens again. Observe with neutrality. And if you don't observe with neutrality, humour is a wonderful thing. Humour is a beautiful way to survive the slings and fortunes of reality. The universe does not reward timid losers who are freeloaders. So therefore, you wait. Oh, the great awakening is happening. It's going to happen. Oh, Jesus. There's going one day we're all going to wake up. Oh, seeking solutions, and it's going to wake up, and there's going to be a mass awakening, and it will be all love and wonderful and peace, and, you know, everyone will get a gyro, and everyone will be on basic income, and I'll be smoking spliffs all day. That's what they're the kind of people who want. They're the kind of people who want a great awakening. I agree with Crowley when he said, "Give me war, give me chaos." I agree with that. I don't want to live in a world of the Eloi from H.G. Wells' Things to Come. Simple flower children. Happy simple days in the future. Happy simple people like us. I don't want that. That's horrible. I want chaos. I want turbulence. Why? Because these are the generator forces of solutions and creativity. That's what we want. We want turbulence. You cannot generate electricity from a stagnant pond. You generate electricity from a flowing river. You generate the greatest amounts of electricity from the mightiest rivers, the greatest winds, and the fiercest sun. And you think you're going to get free energy. Now, free energy doesn't exist. Free energy is another one of these losers' magic. I'm gonna wait for free energy, man. Go to the free energy. Free energy, yeah. So you can get everything for free. The universe never rewards freeloaders. The universe never rewards parasites. The universe operates a perfect accounting system. Input in, input out. Good data in, good data out. Rubbish in, rubbish out. Nothing in, nothing out. Nothing, inertia, malaise, happy simple people, in the zeitgeist, happy simple people, in the Venus Project, looking all day at pictures of Russell Brand, we're happy simple people, happy simple people. That's what you want, is it? That's it. That's what you want. Pod people with nothing to do. Look at yourselves. Look at yourselves. I want free energy. So let me tell you, right? You're sitting there, and a beautiful woman is on the other side of a room, naked, and she wants you to have sex with her. You free energy types, you know what you're expecting her? You're expecting her to levitate towards your willy, rather than you charging over there, unable to get your trousers off fast enough that you're tripping like in an old Carry On movie. You see the difference? You see the difference? More importantly, she wants you to come over to her. She doesn't want you. She's opened the magic circle for you, and she wants you to step in. And that's just one metaphor you can apply to everything in life, not just a sexual thing. Opportunities are there. Opportunities are the fodder of chaos. Happy simple people protesting against Trump. Happy simple people at the Zeitgeist movement. Happy simple people. That's what you're like. That's what you're fucking like. That is what you are like, those you types. Now, I know those types don't listen to my show anymore. You wouldn't listen to my show. You're off donating money to some skunk addict who's fulfilling your cognitive dissonance about your simplified view of the world, while you're accusing other people of being sheeple and being lost in cognitive dissonance. Ironically. I want you to hate me. I want you to distrust me. I want you to be challenged by me. I don't want the day to come when comes along when someone says, I agree with everything Thomas Sheridan says. I'll kick you in the bollocks. I'll kick you in the bollocks. And I'll say, you get your fucking head together. Anyone who agrees with anyone 100% is a lunatic. And is dangerous lunatic. Now, I always say that about the Great Awakening too. If all the happy simple people, if all the happy simple people manage to get their kind of like the Great Awakening that all the truthers and the alt media and the New Agers want, the first thing that would happen is that the normies who've woken up would start building gas chambers and slaughtering each other. That's what would happen. The Georgia Guidestones are right. We cannot have too many people on this planet because human beings are fucking dangerous. Go out there, walk down your street and tell me, watch Love Island, and tell me that you trust these fuckers. You tell me, that you trust them and that they care about you. And you have all these people protesting. I protest because I want the world to be a better place. No, you're protesting because you're narcissistic. You are a narcissist. You are a narcissist walking around with your little socialist workers flag or your little placard. You want attention because you have within inside you a Christian, Christ-like Messiah psychosis that you need validated by others. There was this motherfucker who used to be on my Facebook page, and literally until I got rid of him, and I knew he was time for him to go when he started getting as soon as Trump got elected, he started to show why these people are the way they are. But here's what this cunt used does. This cunt used to, he has nothing to show for his life. Does he have love? Does he have family? Does he have artistic, creative, or business achievements? No. The primary function of this motherfucker's existence was to start fights with the policemen at protests, get himself arrested, have someone take photographs of him being arrested, or being on the ground having the cuffs put on him, and he would upload that as his latest profile picture because he was a hero. Because he was a hero fighting a man. No, he was a fucking loser, a narcissistic loser, and he was just doing anything to get attention because he can't do anything else. This is why protesting does not work, never has worked, and never will work, because it is the gospel of the failure. It is the gospel of the loser. It is post-mortal convulsions. The revulsion is a produce derived from failure. Failure. The world goes the way it is. You ride with it or you try to make something from it. You cannot protest it any more than you can stand on the sea and push the waves back because you don't like the incoming tide. The incoming tide doesn't care about you. Grow the fuck up. Embrace the change. Let the prevailing shock wave pass through you. Then, among the devastation, loot to see what you can do to survive and prosper. It's that simple. I know so many of you are not that bright. Not my audience. My audience are the brightest, most intelligent, best looking and most interesting people on alt media. Why? Because, well, You found me. You found me. And you get me. And you get what I'm saying. More importantly, you get that I am just an attenuator. I'm just throwing it out there, and you're doing it. You're not going, tell us what to believe next. I remember that years ago when Bertrand Russell Bland of the Fabian Society told suddenly out of the blue, after saying you can't vote for everyone, told everyone to vote for Labour. And all these truthers all went, listen then, we could vote for Labour, we must vote for Labour. That's what you like. And then you wonder why nothing gets better in your life. Happy simple people! Happy simple people! The Eloy in what you call it, Things to Come. Watch the film. The one with Rod Steiger. Incredibly handsome man. Incredibly handsome man. The universe doesn't like a loser. The universe is built from chaos. There is nothing stable in the universe. From galaxies consuming one another to insects and microbes tearing themselves apart below your feet. And you think you can live in a world of happy simple people, happy simple people. Well, all this chaos and turbulence and convulsions in a maelstrom of creation, death, and chaos is unfurling all around you. You think you can have stability. You think you're entitled to free energy. Who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are? God? No, you're not a god. You're a maggot. A god is someone who embraces chaos. A god is someone who embraces the turbulence. A god is someone who recognizes death as the death of the old and the creation of the new. I'll give you an example. Another example. This is probably the point in the part of the show where truthers will probably switch off because you don't have the intelligence or education level to understand. Let me talk about this. My main audience who aren't listening to me full of hatred will get this. The ones who can actually think. Now, so there you go. Get off it. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. See ya. Later. Bye. Okay. Happy simple people. Happy simple people. Right, they're gone now. I won't sing that song. Now, when the Renaissance happened, and you had the likes of Brunelleschi and Albrecht Dürer creating, you saw my video on perspective, there still would have been the majority of people didn't get perspective. They would look at these complex drawings and wouldn't see anything different than the flat 2D dimensional drawings of the medieval and the late Middle Ages period. Others would look at it and say, that's incredible. That's magic. And they were the ones who created the Renaissance. They were the ones who brought Europe back to pagan thinking after 1500 years of Christian destruction from the Middle East. They were the ones who brought it all back. Because they looked at perspective and they went, damn, that's it. Damn it. This is why you had the likes of the church banning the devil's tritone, where like the sound of the music goes down a half a step. Why? Because they said it creates a spooky devil sound. It doesn't. It's creating a Kali effect within your consciousness. It's shifting you down into the twilight realms between the material and the immaterial world, and you're pondering your existence. And it's not evil. It's quite the opposite. It's opening a magic portal. And that's why they banned the devil's tritone when a note went down half a step. You know, that for Black Sabbath songs. Down, that riff, that was the devil's tritone. The church banned it because it made people see through the bullshit of organised religion. And they start looking to themselves. You see, anything that's been declared devils or evil, and this includes all the stuff the truthers do as well, is anything that's designed to make you look within rather than look without. So that's why you have all these truth gurus who tell you, could continue the Christian mindset, the Christian fears, because you'll walk away from them. They don't want you waking up either. They don't want you waking up either. Because if you woke up, you'd say, okay, I've had enough of you. You see, me, as Thomas Sheridan, my greatest moment is when people say, yeah, I really like what Thomas said. I think I'll go off and do my own thing now. That's it. That's all. I'm just like Forrest Gump on the bench with a box of chocolates. That's all I am, except I'm not retarded. But that's what I'm like. If you look at your life, whether it's a taxi driver you have a conversation with, someone, a stranger on a train, someone you meet in a pub, and then you look back at your life, it says, Jesus, I was only talking to that person for a few seconds, but yet they gave me the most profound insights that carried with me for the rest of my life. That's how you approach it. You didn't follow that person around and say, Teacher, may I follow everything you say and everything you do. You just grasp the passing, fluttering and fleeting seeds of knowledge that you plant within the fertilizer of your own consciousness, and you bring forth. Now, shameless plug, you can buy my book Sorcery, The Invocation of Strangers, which I and many people now believe is probably the best book written on magic that's been written since the 1980s, 1970s probably. And that's not narcissism, that's just a fact, because I was waiting all these years to write that book. I worked hard on it and did a good job. That's not narcissism, that's just a fact. I was unhappy with what was being produced generally in the world of magic and sorcery, so I decided, okay, it's time to do my own. Now, you could read that book and get a lot from it. You don't have to read the book, but there's the tips in there in terms of things like synchronicity is very important. I'll give you an example, right? I'm currently recording a new musical album, and I was writing the lyrics, and the lyrics is about someone who I knew who had this protesting, activist, salvation mindset, and eventually just came home one day, and he went to war against anyone who said, hold on a second, maybe that's not the right thing, until one day he walked home and hung himself off the door and killed himself out of the blue. And he couldn't save himself, that's why he was trying to save the world. But the lyric at the beginning of the song was ribbons of salvation across this snakeless land. And that's the opening lyric. And of course it's about Ireland, snakeless land. So I go into town, and there in town, I always go into the charity shops and pick up stuff to make art from and look for books and stuff like that. And what do I see? A taxidermy snake inside a glass box. Of course I bought for €4 in a beautiful glass, an antique too as well. And I bought it, and that was the synchronicity, and took it home with me. And this is magic. This is how you do it. You embrace the synchronicities, and they give you sights. They give you readings. They give you foresight. They make you a seer. So you can embrace or be disgraced. You are disgraced by the literal meaning of the word. You are without grace. Grace, in terms of the meaning of the word, is a gift from the gods. If you get gifts from the gods, you achieve charisma. Kill the Christian within you. No one gets reward for piety. The universe does not like pious people. The universe does not like obedient people. The universe does not like stagnant people. The universe loves convulsive people who roll in tandem with the changes rather than convulsing against them. So when the wave of change comes along, you just let yourself go, and you just let that wave carry you along. And hopefully, if you do that enough times, eventually you're able to stand on the surfboard and ride it like a surfer. But you cannot push against the waves. You cannot push against the chaos. The universe is a machine of chaos. Only demons grow in stagnant water. Only disease, pestilence, and malaria grow in stagnant pools. There is no free energy. There is no free lunch. There is only energy exchanged, converted, given, and taken. And energy is a beautiful system in that it allows you to invest. It reaps rewards. There is a business model within energy. If you create a work of art from within your own consciousness, and you sell it as a painting, as a song, as an idea, as a business proposal, You have taken the energy within you and turned it into a greater, massive and exponential energy force outside you in the material world. That is real magic. Learn from the ones who have the power. Learn from the ones who have the power. Learn from the ones who have the energy. There's a reason why. Of course, there are ones who are parasites who have got it for nothing, but even they are working in energy as well. The royal families of Europe that have disappeared are the ones who sat on their laurels, like the Habsburgs and the Bourbons. They sat on their laurels. The reason why the British royal family maintains power is not because they're 9-foot reptilian satanic benevolent. That's not the reason why. The reason why they maintain power is they create chaos in the mainstream. The greatest thing that ever happened to the royal family in my lifetime was the death of Princess Diana. And then you go, but yes, but that made us point fingers at them and think that they're evil and they are involved in it. And that's the point, my friend. That's the point. That is the point. This is why the royal families in the past used to start wars. This is why the greatest kings were at the front of their armies when they went into battle. This is why the Bourbons died, because they were too busy in Versailles acting all Ponzi. They were too busy building up their wealth and not doing anything to get it back. The British royal family, being good Germans that they are, understand the concept of industry. They don't. People say, oh, they sit around doing nothing. They don't. They plan ways to keep themselves in power. They have royal children. They know how to work the media. They're geniuses at working the media. And they're geniuses at working the sheeple and the normies. You create, when you're bereft of creativity, you go find where energy is abundant in other places. You go to the mosh pit. You go to the football matches. You go to where energy is being unleashed. Because malaise and stagnation will destroy you. It is not good. It's not good. There's a lot of truth in those things that say it's better to burn out than to fade away. Because when you burn out, you don't burn out in years and years of pain and suffering. When you fade away in years of pain, suffering and disappointment. So grab anything that comes your way that can make your life, even for a little while, fleetingly happy. That includes love, pleasure, enjoyment, excitement, anything, because that will not last. Love doesn't last. People think, oh, love lasts forever. Love doesn't last. Love is an energy force. It is born and it dies. In between, you have to make it as happy as possible. You have to make it as meaningful as possible and as fun as possible. This is why the long-term relationships that last are usually the ones that are not the happiest on the surface. They're people who fight and argue and have problems, but they maintain the relationships. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about like families that stick together, people that stick together, friendships. They go through the slings and arrows of age's fortune together. But at the end of the day, they realise that together that they can battle these things, and it can work for both of them as individuals. They're like two notes that play off each other. But yet we have infantile ideas of love that, like, it's supposed to be romantic love forever. It's supposed to be like the first dates forever. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. A flower only blooms for so long. Remember that. And that's life. A flower only blooms for so long. So when chaos comes along, when opportunities like that come along, when unleashings of potentials come along, instead of reviling against them, you try to do something about them. You try to capitalize upon them. Even if you only observe them for what they are, in a sense of neutrality, can be incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. I'll give you an example. Suppose something happens tomorrow, like the EU brings in the law banning memes, okay? The EU brings in this ridiculous law they have banning memes. That shows how terrified they are at these digital sigils, and how good the alt-right and the whole liberals like myself are good at them. So you can sit there being terrorised, going, They banned the memes. They banned the memes. The fucking memes are banned. They're banned. Oh, woe is me. Or you can unleash chaos from this. You can say to yourself, well, let's look at a way we can get around this. So the only way that the EU can realistically ban memes at the moment is in terms of like invoking copyright laws. Okay, then we'll get our own artists. Problem solved. We'll develop new codes and conventions for exploring the ideas of memetics. Who knows, we may go back to fanzines. I was at the Witchcraft Museum in Boscastle in England, and if you haven't been there, go. It's brilliant. Not only did you can see my lecture on magic that on my open source occult TV that I gave there in front of the people who run it are great, but the place is fabulous. It's really, really good. But one of the things I noticed about the Witchcraft Museum, the witchcraft and the magic scene in England, is it's still quite dependent on things like fanzines. The A4 or the A5 photocopied, simple magazine, black and white, stapled or cheaply printed and disseminated throughout the magical community. It's still a big thing within magic. Why? Because fanzines have a charge about them. They have, and that was what memes were. Memes were the fanzines of the social media. They have the same kind of homemade, casual, not from a place of fear and loathing charge about them. So fanzines will always be there. I always said that if the Velocity of Now is taken off the air, I would go and do fanzines. In fact, I'm very serious about this. I'm actually thinking of producing a fanzine or kind of a little magazine, a little black and white A5 magazine. If people are interested in this, let me know. Would you be interested in subscribing to it? That I could actually produce with not only my own writing in it, but other people, and probably have it printed on Lulu so you could actually get decent copied, but cheap, very cheap, delivered to your door that you could collect in binders and basically hold on to them. I really like this idea. It's something that will always be there. It's something you can pass on. This is why books are so important. Forget these idiots you see on TV going, books and libraries are sacred. We must save the library. I disagree with that in many ways. I think that the library that you should save is the one in your own home. There's a big thing about public libraries, but I can say as someone who's been a bibliophile all my life, the vast majority of public libraries are terribly disappointing. They're no better than mainstream bookshops. The best libraries are the ones that have antiquarian books, or like the big huge public libraries that have everything, like the national libraries and stuff like that. The best libraries of all are always the ones that people have in their own homes. I have a great library, and you should have a great library too. And if you're not out now scourging second-hand bookshops and scourging charity shops for books, you really are a fool, because this is a golden age. Because what's going to happen is they're all like the LPs 10 years ago. They're all dirt cheap until the hipsters discovered them, and the hipsters start buying them for enormous amounts of money. Even if you don't read the books, you're investing in an energetic force that you can probably sell down the road. Think about it. Build your own libraries. Don't be dependent. Get away from digital downloads. That's all bullshit. Digital downloads are okay for getting, information and stuff like that. And maybe if you are doing that, probably print them out and bind them. You can do that. And actually bind them beautifully. I know somebody who prints our old books off the internet and then prints them up on nice paper and then gets them to a binder who puts a lovely binding on them. I think it's a wonderful idea. I should be doing that myself, actually. But if you're interested in the idea of me producing a fanzine, a sort of a Velocity of Now fanzine, let me know. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing I will do it, but I just do like the idea. I think there's something, we are in the age of chaos, and there's something very chaos magic about fanzines. Something that you could spy and slip to other people, and something, I've over the years, it's when the fanzines were all the rage. I can't even begin to tell you how much fanzines have enriched my life back then in the 80s. I not only did I make money from making my own fanzines, but I also got to learn so many things. The first time I heard about Terence McKenna was in a hackers fanzine when hacking was really hacking in New York in the late 1980s. There were hacking fanzines for hackers, and back those days, a lot of hacking was about getting free phone calls and using the telephone system. It was all, of course, it was all rooted in chaos magic, and so of course there was things like there was articles on the likes of Philip K. Dick and Robert Anton Wilson, Philip Hind and Discordia and Michael Moorcock and so on. It was a magic, and like bands like the Blue Oyster Cult, and it was a magical time. And I think a lot of people, I think at this point now, the velocity of now on this show, on this stage of my life and my work, where I have an audience who pretty much understands and is into a lot of the same things I'm into. We've kind of devolved into a little kind of free association tribe. There's no formal structure. You're all off doing your own thing, but it's almost like I'm a hall, or I'm a meeting place, or I'm a fireside where we all gather around and have mull over our own versions of reality. And you should all be enjoying, unless you're very, very ill, or you're very, very poor, or you're having a really bad time, you should all be enjoying your lives right now. This is a wonderful time to be alive. This is why I don't understand these people walking around with placards and protesting. This is a wonderful time to be alive. The opportunity, this is amazing. It's amazing. It's just like these are the people who would be cowering in their caves after the lightning bolt hit the tree and set it on fire. There's no reason for be out there protesting. There's nothing to protest against. We've never been freer. We've never been allowed the amount of energy that's abundant and available. The Great Awakening is happening. Even people on the dole can save up money and fly on cheap flights like Ryanair and so on to other parts of their country or continent and stay in cheap B&Bs or hostels and do things that were unavailable to people who had paying jobs 40, 50 years ago. I mean, a lot of these protesters, one of the reasons I despise the likes of Jeremy Corbyn, I was delighted no one showed up for his event, is he wants to go back to the 1970s Britain. That's what he wants, the 1970s Britain, where people stayed at home, watched TV, and just had enough to survive. There was no chaos. The smart ones wanted more. They wanted to be able to go on holiday and see other countries, not sit at home looking at a picture of Leon Trotsky on the mantelpiece and then singing the red flag on May Day, the Internationale, while eating, co-op cheap fig rolls. Actually, co-op fig rolls aren't bad at all. I don't know what they're back in the 70s, but they're actually not bad at all. That's what he represents. Malaise, stagnation. Wait, they're coming back. They're like, happy simple people, happy simple people, happy simple people, happy simple. Now they can't come back because they have no energy. They marched off singing their happy simple people song into the Venus Project, into following Russell Brand the Pied Piper, into the hinterlands of malaise and stagnation, and they didn't have enough energy to get back to us. They're gone. They're faded away because they did not generate energy. They wanted a basic income. They wanted a free energy source. There's another thing too, Tesla. This whole thing of Tesla is truly bizarre. Tesla was a genius engineer, but Tesla was not hidden from the public. There's a unit of measurement named after him. There's a massive power station at Niagara Falls in upstate New York with his statue installed beside it, which he designed and built. And it says this fantastic power station was designed and built by the great Nikola Tesla. And they have this, you see, the reason why this Wardenclyffe thing obsessed them is, one, I don't like, it's amazing, I'm against 5G. I'm against 5 fucking G. Because 5 fucking G is sending electrical power and energy through the fucking air. And it's going, well, hold on a second. Isn't that what Tesla was doing at Wardenclyffe? What are you fucking on about? Tesla was a fucking genius. But he was sending electricity through the air, wasn't he? Just like 5G. But it was actually higher amperage and power levels. You are a fucking satanic pedophile. Tesla was a fucking genius. But wasn't he a Nazi? Didn't he all hate all black people and coloured people? He was about love. He was about free energy and free. And Nikola Tesla was about free energy and free love. But you are a satanic pedophile. Yeah, that's what I like. When you actually get them to question that Tesla was not this kind of saintly spiritual creature. Tesla was about as far from spiritual as Richard Dawkins. And yet all these New Agers think he was spiritual. They all think that Tesla was spiritual because he was creating free energy. Meaning, I'm going to get me some free energy and I'm going to sit on my ass all day long until my ass is so big it has its own postal code. I want me some of that free energy. I don't want to work for nothing. I don't want to do nothing. Yeah, man, I want some free energy, man. I want to do fucking note all fucking day, man. Nothing. Give me that fucking energy, man. I want to do fucking note. Hey, pet. That's what free energy is. Debt. Why can't you get that into your head? There is no free. If free energy was this, here's my theory. If free energy was discovered, the universe would probably die. The universe would probably die because it would have no further reason to exist. The universe exists because of turbulence. The universe exists because of chaos. The universe exists because of the burning fires of potential, life, death, and birth, grinding one another up, immolating each other, rebuilding, tearing itself down, rejuvenating, and re-exploding itself into new possibilities and new potentials. That is the universe. That is chaos. Embrace it or be destroyed by it, never to be reborn again. Feck 'em if they can't take a joke. When people talk about their independence, their free will, if you need someone to save you, or you need a counter culture or mainstream culture savior, someone who validates your opinions, you're really a slave. Suffering from a disease, and the disease is that you have not understood that the problem is really your belief in external salvation beyond yourself. If you didn't need to feel this desire to have an authority figure or a celebrity or a politician validate and express your feelings, you wouldn't need these saviors in the first place. And this is the root of the problem. We are very carefully controlled from the time we're children to have a sort of the need for a savior. There is no turning back. You got to face the truth. That's all you have to do. Hit the ground and run. Take a second glance towards the right.
Jesus Christ, with his Dionysian beard and long hair, and his softness and his Aryan looks. And you believe that, deep in your subconscious, that this is someone you need. But you're missing the point completely. True. Believe. Culture. We have been given saviors in the belief they are our only path to salvation. The only route to salvation is your own ass. Accept it and please deal with it.
There is no